Hey guys, and welcome back. So we're gonna give this a little bit of time so some of you can join in. Thank you guys for tuning in on a Thursday. What is it today? The 10th. Thursday the 10th, 11 10 2022. Hello Rick. Thank you for joining. We're gonna wait here until some people start to join in. I appreciate everybody who's coming into the channel to watch what we're doing today. We're gonna do some brisket from the Lodge website. We're going to be using the 7.25 quart Dutch oven. Hello, Nesha's River Catfishing. Rick, thank you guys. So we're going to be using today the Smithey 7.25 quart Dutch oven. Cynthia. Hello, Cynthia. Hippie Longshanks. We're going to be doing, as you can see here, I already have all my stuff prepped. We're going to be doing the Lodge website brisket recipe. I'm going to turn off the fan for now. But we're going to wait a little bit longer. Give me about 2 to 3 minutes. That way we can have a little bit more people show up and we're going to get going. And as I mentioned, guys, we are doing the brisket chili recipe from the Lodge website. I'm going to give that a go. And we're going to be using the 7.25 quart Dutch oven from Smithey. And as always, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Bear with us while we wait for more people to tune in. Hey Siri, set a timer for 5 minutes. Set a timer.
5 minutes starting now.
Thank you everybody for showing up. We're gonna get started pretty soon. Also, just wanted to let you guys know that I've been sick. We've been sick almost nonstop this whole, like, in the last 2 months. So we just got sick once again. That's why I've been kind of quiet on YouTube, not doing too much. All my kiddos are sick. Wife is sick. I'm sick. So we ended up getting RSV. So for those of you that have children, watch out for RSV. It is pretty bad. We had a pretty tough week, but we're just recuperating. My wife ended up catching, I think, bronchitis. So she's taking medication for that. But we're getting there. We're on the mend now, and hopefully we'll be back on our feet soon. But anyway, shout out to everybody who's here. Hippie Longshanks, Nesha's River Catfishing, Rick, Honey Badger, Cynthia, Rhode Island Eats. Thank you guys for showing up. Papa Dan, thank you. Hi, Papa Dan. Hello, everybody. All right, I think we're good enough to get going. So to let everybody know what we're doing today, we have some chuck roast that I've cut into small squares here. I also have over there, we have, let me show you guys. We have about 8 garlic cloves that I minced. We also have some jalapeno slices for the chili. We also have about 3/4 onion. I didn't use all of it. White onion, chopped. And then last we have about, I want to say maybe 12 ounces of chopped hickory smoked bacon. So we're gonna do that. Actually, we're gonna cook the bacon first, and then we'll do the sear the brisket, and then we're gonna move on forward with that. So hope you guys are excited because I am. I'm excited to get this going. Papa Dan, I hope you are feeling better. I did hear that you had some something going on. Not sure exactly what, but prayers for you and your family. So I hope you're doing fine. Thank you for joining us today. And I think we're ready to get going. So first thing we got to do is we got to add some oil and turn on the stove. So let's do that. I should have been preheating this thing, but well, I got caught up. And I'm actually going to use some avocado oil. I don't know why I did so much. I should have done less. We're going to do the bacon first, so that was kind of pointless. But we're going to do the bacon first. From there, we're going to sear the chuck roast. And then from there, we'll move on to everything else. So let me actually pull up on my computer the recipe because I need to pull it up real quick. I forgot the recipe itself. I don't think that's how it is, I know. It says you only need one. And you might use the wrong one. Alright guys, so this is heating up. Sorry about that. I needed to find the recipe for the brisket, which I had it on my computer, but for some reason it got erased, so I gotta look it up now. So they call it the brisket chili. I'm actually gonna look it up on my phone. Alright, so you guys can see this is what we're gonna be doing. As you can see here on my phone, we're gonna be doing this recipe brisket rub. So it pretty much tells you what we need. So for those of you that wanna later possibly try and recreate this, hopefully you guys can do so. And then obviously the directions. But as I mentioned, we are using the recipe for the from Lodge. It says it takes about 1.5 hours. Hopefully we can actually do this within that time. But anyway, let's get going. All right, let's see. I think we're getting there. Let me take a look at your guys' comments. Hippie Longshanks, maybe someday post a grocery list so we can try to cook along in real time. Yeah, you know, I've seen other channels do that. That's possibly something that I might consider. And did you donate $5? Hippie Longshanks, thank you for that. But you know, you guys don't have to. I do this for you guys. I figured doing something live, interacting with you guys is, you know, something that I enjoy doing as well. Especially since, honestly, guys, I've been pretty much stuck at home. Haven't had much interaction outside the house. Obviously, I have time with my kids, time with the wife, but you know, it is nice to go out once in a while and be out in the open. I've been stuck home, as I mentioned. I've been sick, but anyway, let's see. Papa Dan, you wrote something. Louise, surgeon office called me today and set me up with another eye specialist. He is wanting to double check that the injections aren't damaging my eyes. They are concerned with the last week's results. Yeah, that sounds. You know, Papa Dan, I'll let you know that my sister actually, she had, I think, 3 or 4 surgeries on one of her eyes. I can't remember if I think it's the left one. So I know that it's rough. I know that it's tough, and I can't put myself in your shoes, but uh, from my, my sister's experience and what I've seen with her, yeah, it's something tough. And but she's kept herself positive, so I hope you do so as well. But don't lose hope, and we'll be praying that you'll be okay, and that everything turns out to be great. Yeah, see, and that's what I love about this community, guys, is that you guys are all just great. So, like Rick says here, still in my prayers, Papa. So that's as I mentioned. Cynthia Wesley says, "Hey, Papa, I hope you're feeling better." Yeah. All right, guys. So, I think this has preheated enough. We're gonna throw in the bacon. We're gonna move forward. So, guys, I haven't really done much with this Dutch oven. Pretty much the only thing that I've done is just the baking. From there on, it is a larger Dutch oven. I haven't done much, so this is technically the second or third time that I use it. Let me know if there's anything that, if any issues going on with the audio or the video quality. Hopefully you guys can see well. And as I mentioned, you guys are a great community. The cast iron community has always been really great. So I like the fact that we all stick together, guys. I think that's the biggest part about our community is that we like to help out each other. And I can see here Hippie Longshanks sent me $5, so I appreciate that. I'll be honest with you guys. I don't do this necessarily for the money. I mean, we're pretty well off. I'll be honest. And thank God that we are. We're not doing bad at all. My wife, she's a small business owner, and I work as a AC furnace installer. Just a HVAC tech. That's my job. And I help out my wife with her small business, whether it's installing. She's an interior designer, but she mostly focuses. I'm sorry about that, guys. She mostly focuses on the soft goods, so she'll do a lot of custom. Uh, what's it called? Custom bedding, pillows, draperies, things of that nature. So I help her out with that, but her business is doing really good, so I'm grateful for that. God's been good with us, and as I mentioned, we're pretty well off. So if you guys would like to donate, that is up to you. I don't. Obviously, this isn't going to be any kind of subscription-based live stream or anything of that nature, but that's just something I wanted to talk and touch on. Any issues, guys, with the live stream? Let me know, please. I am checking the live stream. Hello, John Ajin. I think that's how you pronounce it, John Ajin. We are doing the Lodge website brisket chili. I'm gonna have to turn this on, so I'm sorry for the noise, guys. The fan might be a little loud. So if you guys have noticed or have been keeping an eye out on social media, things of that nature, A lot of the companies are doing sales right now, so you can find a lot of sales. Like Finex is doing 20% off their whole entire inventory. Lodge is doing sales as well. I think Butterpat Industries, Stargazer might be doing something. So I think what they're doing is they're trying to get everything out before Thanksgiving. So for those that are looking for any kind of cast iron cookware, I would check. They have a lot of sales going on, and I think most of these sales are actually going to end this weekend. So as I mentioned, if you guys have been holding off, I think right now is a good time, or you could hold off until Black Friday. But I know that the sales right now, like Finex is doing the 20% off all their cookware, and that's actually a great deal, especially if you're considering 20% out of 100, that's $20. Out of two, that's 40. Out of 300, that's 60. And so I feel like those are great discounts. And for any of you who are just joining in, we are doing brisket chili from the Lodge website. We're using that recipe and we'll see how that goes. I've never done it before, so this will be the first time that I try it. And I usually do chili with ground beef, so this will be the first time that I try with this. Oh, you guys saw my coffee pot. Yeah, this is enameled coffee pot. I think I got this from Sportsman's Warehouse. They have this, and it actually comes along with a uh, 4 cups as well for I think $30. So it's a great deal. If you guys are interested, Sportsman Warehouse has this really nice, beautiful enameled pot. $30, and it comes with 4 cups as well. And the percolator, I think that's the what holds it. I'll show you guys in a minute. Yeah, if you guys want to see it, let me show you guys real quick. So you get this, so you put your coffee grinds in here, and you place this in there. Right now I was just using it for tea because we're sick. And these are the mugs. They have a stainless steel rim. Very nice. So for $30, I think it was 30 or 40. I'm sorry, I can't recall, but you can actually get these at Sportsman's Warehouse. I don't know if you guys have those in the East Coast or Midwest, but out here, that's where I go. I don't know how I feel about cooking bacon, guys, on a new Dutch oven, because sometimes, for some reason, I don't know, like in my experience, the seasoning sometimes takes a hit with bacon. But let me know what you guys do. Do you guys actually, like, I know a lot of people recommend to cook bacon in their cast iron pretty much when they first buy it. So that's one of the recommendations that they always give, is to give it a good start in the seasoning, cook some bacon. But in my experience, I've done that, and I don't know how I feel about it, to be honest, because sometimes I feel like my seasoning takes a hit. But um, other than that, I think this Dutch oven is actually doing a great job. Let's see. Papa Dan says, thanks for the prayers, everyone. I'm not fretting. It is what it is. Cynthia, not second opinion for the original issue, but to make sure that injections haven't damaged my eye. Having new issues now. Okay, and as I mentioned, Papa Dan, we'll keep you in our prayers. Hippie Longshanks, quality is good for me. Is the wife manufacturing the goods herself or is outsourcing? No, my wife actually, luckily for her, her mother owns a drapery business, so it's technically kept in the business. So her brother and her family actually manage the drapery business, and that's where she's actually doing all of her work. So all of her work is, from there, all the draperies, the soft goods, pillows, custom bedding, things of that nature. That's what my wife does. So yeah, technically, that's how she started. She got into design, not because of the draperies or anything of that nature. She got into design because she likes drawing. She's a good artist, and she got into it because she took some classes in college. We were both in college, and she always took art classes, and she found the design aspect of those, the career, very appealing to her. So she went with it, and she graduated the university here in Reno, which is the University of Nevada, Reno. Graduated from there, and she worked for a firm for 2 years. It's a high-end firm. We're talking $1 million homes or more than that. Actually, yeah, $1 million homes, not more than that, but $1 million homes. And she got good experience from there. And then after that, we kind of decided to, since it was a long commute, she would commute a lot to Truckee. She decided to quit. And then we kind of talked about her starting her own business. And so far, since 2016, she's been managing her business since, and she's been growing every year, which is good. Nesha's River Catfishing says, Luis, is your Finex favorite of the modern cast iron? I've had really good experience with Finex, so at this point I could probably say yes. Finex has been great with me, and not just like corporation wise, but I mean like I'm not affiliated with them whatsoever, or but Finex has like I've used their products and they work, you know, really well. I don't know if you guys own any of Finex, but seasoning is always great. Their cookware works great. I've never had any issues, and just the fact that they have so much, to offer in every aspect. Where they have here this saucepan. Um, they have grill presses, lids, um, various skillets, braziers, Dutch ovens now. It's nice. So yeah, I'll be honest with you guys. Yeah, it's actually very, very nice that they have a lot to offer. I mean, same thing with these companies like Smithy. Smithy has a lot of stuff to offer as well. But I guess you could say one of my issues with Smithy was just the fact that it was hard for me to get the seasoning right. But that's not an issue, and it shouldn't be an issue because seasoning will take time no matter what. It's a lot easier with Finex, with Lodge, um, even with Butter Pat and Field. It's still a lot easier. Smithy, and I've always said it, guys. It's difficult. It's difficult to keep their seasoning, but I think the less you worry about it, and it is going to be very, very off. Like it won't be perfect, and it won't get pitch black. But as long as you don't worry about it, they cook great too. Don't get me wrong. They cook really well. So I don't know if you guys can see here, but the bacon is starting to brown up, and as I mentioned before, Smithy does a great job with their finishes. So cooking on a Smithy is really, really nice for the fact that it's their interior is super high polished. So you have I like if I'm here with the spoon, you don't hear anything, and nothing really gets stuck to it unless you're mean, you also have to know what you're doing when you're cooking. And I'll be honest, guys, that might sound mean, but you can't crank up the heat on anything. Even with non-stick pans, they do recommend that you keep it at a medium low. You can't really do high heat cooking with non-stick pans, and the reason being is that they'll offset some gases that are toxic for your health, cancerous even at high heat. So even with that, you know, you do have to have some heat control, and that's honestly the biggest point with any kind of cookware. As long as you have good heat control, yeah, you know, it'll do a great job. I've talked about Chinese cast iron and how rough it is, and usually they don't, you know, polish their interiors. You can still slide food around. It just, as I mentioned, as long as you have a good amount of fat in there, and you know your heat control. Other than that, you're not going to have any issues, and it'll perform just as well as any other piece. Now, the only difference is that for me, it's a little bit patriotic. I want to be, you know, as I mentioned earlier, my wife, she has a small business. I don't know if these companies are massive or considered small businesses or not, but to me, I like to support local. I like to support U.S. made. So I prefer using this not only for the fact that it's, you know, made here in the USA, but also for the fact that it's handmade, it's high quality. I mean, you know, obviously this is beautiful. Everything about it, just the design aspect of their cookware, whether it's Smithey, Field, Butter Pat, Stargazer, even Lodge. You know, they have their Black Log series. That's a beautiful skillet and a beautiful line of cookware as well. So for me, that's why I tend to go more for the American made more than obviously Chinese made. Do I have Chinese cast iron? Of course I do. You know, I'm actually going to put out a video soon about a cast iron cookware that have a lot of people on social media, mostly Facebook, on the cooking groups, on the cast iron groups, have been talking about, and I'm going to do a review about that skillet. But alright guys, let's see what you guys are talking about. Let's see, mine is $1. Dollar General, I'd rather spend the big dollars on cast iron. Sorry, I meant to say Smithey. Yeah, Smithey is, as I mentioned, Finex, yeah. Smithey, I pretty much already gave you my answer, so yeah. Still love Smithey. Cynthia says, congrats to your wife, her own boss. Yes, she is. And to be honest, I don't think she could ever work for somebody. She always had trouble. Not in a bad way, but she always, and I've always told her that too. She's had that mentality of being a leader more than anything else, and that's the way I think she was meant to be. She was always meant to be a leader. And you know, she does a lot better than I do financially, in the sense of she's a lot smarter handling her money than I am. And I say her money because that's the business. You know, she's able to run her business because she's smart about the money that she has and the money that she makes. So she's smart about that. So I'll give her props for that. But I, you know, as I mentioned, I'm always there to support. I'm always there to help if she needs help. I'm her. Sometimes I'll be her installer for draperies or roller shades, because that's a lot of what she sells as well, is roller shades. So we support each other in every kind of way. At least we try. Sometimes we don't see eye to eye, but that's kind of a given. Alright guys, would you say that is, let's see, pretty done? I think so. The lighting is pretty bad. I'm sorry guys. I haven't been able to grab my my tripod for you guys, so let's see if maybe change it up, see if you guys can see it a little bit better. But I think that bacon's done. I'm gonna take it out. We're gonna move on. And forgive me for the coughs. As I mentioned, I am still trying to get better. We've been sick just this whole time, and it's kind of been of a nuisance. Actually, I think what I'm going to use is something to strain. You know what? I like how well it cooked my bacon. It actually did a great job cooking the bacon, so I'm happy with that. And I have heard that when you cook some bacon, it's always it's a good idea to um, stir it around quite a bit. But there, as you can see, there's the bacon. We're gonna move on to now what the recipe says is the doing the chuck roast. All right. A lot of sizzle going on. So we're gonna sear brisket on all sides for about 2 minutes. Is what it's saying right now on the lodge website. Papa Dan says, Luis, I love the Lodge cookbook. Wife loves the food that I've cooked it from it. The skillet cooks just like a new Lodge should. Great. Thank you, Papa Dan. And as I mentioned, that is technically my way of saying thank you to everybody who is here to support, that's been here from day one and supporting the channel. I do appreciate it a lot. And I do know that you guys can be doing other things with your time, but I do appreciate that you guys are here hanging out with me. Papa Dan also says he likes to cook in the oven with newly seasoned pans. Don't fry first anymore. Michael Hagan says, hey Luis, we've used the Lodge wildlife set every day since you sent them to us. Love them. Thanks again. My pleasure. As I mentioned, I have the ability to help you. Well, not necessarily help, but to do these giveaways since I have such a large collection and I have acquired a lot of stuff. I figured also that doing the giveaways would be something that you guys would enjoy, and I have new stuff. I don't think I've given out any of my personal collection, but all the things that I've done in giveaways have been new. So thank you guys for that. Guys, sometimes I don't know if they say sear on both sides for 2 minutes, like each side, or just like have them in there for 2 minutes? Sometimes it's kind of vague. And just so you guys know, it doesn't say to season the meat at all, so I have not done any kind of seasoning. So right now, the only thing that I'm doing is just searing it. And it's actually searing in this bacon fat, which is hickory smoked bacon fat, so I think that should give it some flavor at least. And typically when I usually sear any kind of meat, I usually, give it a little bit of seasoning, whether it's salt, pepper, or anything of that nature. And this Dutch oven is doing such a great job because it's honestly handling a lot of, the meat without any issue. We got a lot of cooking space. I think there's I said about 11 inches of cooking surface, which is a great size, to be honest. So I'm very happy with that, and not only that, but it's searing really well as well. And I'll show you guys in a minute so you guys can see how well this is doing. Have you guys done brisket chili? Usually, in my mind, when I thought brisket chili is actually smoking a brisket on a smoker and then using that meat, because I think technically that's what they do. This is, I guess you could say, a cheater way. But either way, as I mentioned, I got it from the Lodge website. I think it's not going to disappoint at all. So I've done some of their recipes, and I've always liked them. So I'm looking forward to this. Honey Badger says that potatoes have a good amount of starch that's great for layering seasoning. Yes, I've actually heard that, and I've actually done that. I did that with with my wok, my carbon steel wok. That's usually what they recommend, but I actually just did potato peels. Papa Dan says cornbread is another thing that I cook often as a first thing. Yeah, a lot of people like cooking cornbread, so do I, and it's actually a great way to start seasoning your cast iron as well. Honey Badger says baking does work good. Go for seasoning because usually you put down a neutral layer before you pour your batter and you leave the iron in for almost an hour at 350 to 425. That is true. My voice is starting to cut out a little bit, guys. Rick says he remembers day one Luis. Yeah. I've come not a long way, but I've come some way. I think I've gotten better with presentation, perhaps in my videos. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys have seen me from the beginning or just recently started, but presentation wise, have I been doing a little bit better than normal, or better, I guess you could say, better than the beginning. Honey Badger says, do you pick your music for your shorts? Yes, I do. So if it's something funny or something weird, and that's the thing too, I'm 35 years old, so I'm kind of in between the, I grew up with no cell phone, technically. No, I mean, I was in the beginnings of the internet. So I still know, like, I used to go outside and play. That was the main thing that I loved to do, was go outside and play with my friends. We'd go out everywhere with our bicycles. And I grew up that way, so I'm in between. This, for me, is something that I feel like the youth doesn't really know about. So sometimes when I pick the audio, I want to capture that audience sometimes with the youth. So I'll do something funny, or I'll try and pick an audio that's funny, something that's appealing to the youth. And then my son, he's close to being 10 years old now. So he kind of tells me, hey, Dad, this audio is actually very popular right now. You should use this one. So he'll kind of give me some pointers as well. So technically, that's kind of where I get some of the inspiration for the music in my shorts. Christopher Z says, I've done brisket carne guisada. That sounds good. My wife actually wants me to make guisado, which I don't know. I mean, not that I haven't done it, but I don't do it as frequent. But she saw one recently, and she liked what it had in it, and she said, "Hey, can you do this?" And I said, "All right, we'll give it a shot." So we're gonna do a guisado soon. I'll probably do a video for that, so you guys can see what I'm talking about. For those of you that might not know. BMF 7831 says, I used my leftover brisket. Yeah, and I was going to do that because I actually smoked brisket last week. But I waited so long that my brisket, obviously, I couldn't use it now, so I had to use it for something else. But I'm going to try it this way. So technically, they call this a brisket chili. Not necessarily the same idea that was in my head when I saw it. But I figured, this is something close to it, I guess, that we can try to attempt. As I mentioned, this recipe is from the Lodge recipe, so that's where I'm getting the inspiration from. Rick says he picks what his wifey tells him. Technically, yes. So I'll cook, and she'll tell me, like, I'll have ideas of what to make, but then she'll tell me, like, oh, I want this, or I want that, or I saw this video, can you do that? And technically, I'll cook anything. I've done desserts, I've done cheesecakes, I've done all kinds of things. So I do my best to keep everything open, like open-minded on everything. I don't discriminate against any dishes, whether it's baking, frying, grilling, smoking, whatever it is. I'll give it a go. And I'm not a professional, guys. Far from it. To be honest, I started cooking about 3 or 4 years ago, and I've kind of made it a routine where I usually cook almost every day. So I do my best to cook every day. I mean, maybe within a month, I won't cook maybe like 5 days in a month. But usually I do. I'll be right back, guys. I'm going to actually grab some water. Hope you guys are enjoying this live. As I mentioned, if there's any issues with the audio or the video, let me know. Alright guys, just so you guys can see, we had a good sear going on, and then the meat started releasing some juice, so now we're kind of slowed down on that. Hopefully though, we can kind of evaporate a little bit of that, and then actually what I'm just thinking of doing is just removing that, since it did get a good sear in the beginning, because it says only to leave it for 2 minutes. So I'm possibly just thinking about taking it out and then throwing in another batch, because obviously this is going to have to simmer for about, let's see, what does the Lodge website say? Let's see, in batches, sear brisket on all sides, about 2 minutes per side. Place cooked brisket in a medium bowl. Add onion to the Dutch oven. Cook 5 to 7 minutes. Hold on, guys. Let's see. Reduce to a simmer and cover for 45 minutes. Shoot. So we got to go 45 minutes. So yeah, let's move this along. I'm going to turn up the heat on this. Right now I had it on a medium low. I'm going to turn it up to a medium high-ish. But I think this is good enough. We're going to take this out and throw in another batch. Hopefully you guys can see that, but the sear on this one is looking really good. All right, moving on. As I mentioned, there is a lot of room in here, so I can do bigger batches. Making room for more meat. Throw some more on there. All right, guys. All right, guys. We have. I think YouTube has been trying to do their best to kind of shut down the bots, and right now there was some inappropriate content that they're trying to post. Don't know if you guys saw it, but I reported the bot. Hopefully they don't come in here bothering us. Papa Dan says, Luis, you appear to be more relaxed nowadays, which means your presentation more natural, and better. You have earned an A plus in my improving your videos You have earned an A plus in improving your videos, and we have loved them all. Thanks for sharing. Thank you, guys. Papa Dan also says, never made brisket chili before, but I've eaten it. I love it. Happy that you are showing us how to do it. I always smoke. Yeah, so that was the impression also for me when I saw the recipe on the Lodge website. I figured you were gonna need smoked brisket, but for them they're not necessarily smoking it. They're just using a chuck roast and calling it a brisket. Either way, I feel like this is a good way of doing this. And to be honest, I think I prefer this method over the ground beef. And not hating on the ground beef, but I think ground beef does better with like meatballs and possibly like some other stuff, like maybe stuffing into other types of food. But for me, or like meatloaves. But for me, ground beef, I don't really like. If you make spaghetti, great. If you make meatballs, great. But for chili, I'm on the fence, and so is my wife. She doesn't like it that much either. Are we having issues with the live stream, guys? Let me know. Once again, I think Papa says it's freezing. BMF says, BMF7831 says, you're the guy who shows us everything cast iron. I buy half of what you do and get in trouble. Sorry about that. I also get in trouble as well. Wife is like, "What do you need this for?" And then I use it, and she says, "All right, fine." She'll get over it after a while, but she'll say, "Hey, since we have a large family, sometimes a variety of cookware comes in handy." And I do a lot of cooking for my family, my personal family, my family on my side, and then family on her side. Um, and I have fun doing it, especially because I get to use my cast iron cookware. So for me, it's a win-win. But yes, I understand. And as I mentioned earlier, there are sales going on right now, guys, with pretty much all the cast iron, U.S. cast iron makers: Lodge, Finex, Butter Pat, Stargazer, Smithey, Field. I think just had their sale. But there's a lot of sales going on, guys. So if you guys are interested in getting scoring some good prices on cast iron cookware, I would recommend you check out their websites. Or you could wait. Either way, if you're thinking about buying something but you just want to wait until Black Friday, then that'll probably be a good time to buy as well. Right now, though, they're having great sales with Finex. I feel like I'm like an infomercial, but Finex doing I think a decent sale right now with the 20% off. Within, if you spend $100, that's $20. You spend 200, that's 40. 300, that's 60. So on and so forth. So if you spend a good, and let's be honest, their cookware is more than $100. So you're going to be saving at least $30 to $40, maybe even more. And right now, if you guys want to buy their Dutch oven, the 7-quart that Finex just released, I think that one is priced at $400. So technically, you'd be getting 80 to close to $100 off. So the only thing that the only thing that I'm glad is that I haven't done any kind of purchases yet. And if you guys caught that, I said yet. So I might do some later, maybe next week or something. But I mean, I already have a lot of stuff, so I'm in no rush. Not only that, but my wife watches this. She's gonna be like, "What? You're gonna buy something?" And I have to be like, "No, that was all just for the show. I'll have to come up with something." That's if she's not watching it now, because she does sometimes tune in. She'll be in the other room and she'll be watching me. I'll let you guys know if I get in trouble, though. So as you can see, guys, this larger Dutch oven, which is about 11 inches in cooking surface, is doing a great job. Now, if you did this with a smaller one, or if it was just for you or yourself or your spouse, you're not necessarily feeding a whole amount of people, then this would probably be going a lot quicker. But for some reason, I always like to cook like I'm cooking for 20 people. So I've kind of gotten used to those ratios. I bought 2 packets of chuck roast, which were pretty large. I think it was like 2 pounds or 3 pounds. So now I'm here stuck cooking all this, and now I'm gonna obviously share. We're not gonna eat all this. We're gonna share with my family. So yeah, for me, this big old Dutch oven is working great for that reason, that I can do a lot quicker. So for me, since I like to share, obviously I'm doing a lot more food than I should be, but we're going to be sharing this, and hopefully my family likes it. And if we have leftover, we might share with my wife's family as well. Right now, we're not getting much of a sear. Right now, it's just pretty much like steaming, which is kind of bothering me, but either way, it's still doing a good job. So yeah, these are so you guys can see, these are the instructions that I'm getting off of here. So preheat cast iron Dutch oven over a medium-high heat. That's probably what I should be doing. While bacon is frying, brisket with rub. Season. Oh my goodness. I totally skipped that. Seasoned brisket with rub. Well, there you go. I've already messed up. Don't do what I do. So make sure if you guys try this, uh, I thought for some reason pretty much skimmed through it. I thought it didn't say to do the seasoning quite yet. Well, that sucks. I'm gonna season that batch right now that we still have a chance. And the seasoning with that is gonna be for the brisket rub itself. Hopefully you guys can see that. 2 tablespoons of kosher salt, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, pepper, chili powder, cumin, and cayenne. Yeah, don't, as I mentioned, I'm not a professional, guys, so don't do as I do. Garlic powder. I'm gonna get some more garlic powder. What else did it say? Salt. A little bit of salt. What else do we have? Pepper. We're gonna do already pre-grounded pepper. Next, we got cumin and cayenne. Let's see, cumin and cayenne. Got some cayenne pepper here. Cumin. Oh my goodness, I'm out of cumin. Okay, luckily I have some more cumin. And some chili powder. Where is my chili powder? Here it is. Some chili powder as well. We're also going to need a beer. So it says to use a brown ale. I don't have that. All I have is Guinness. So I'm going to go with Guinness. Hopefully it doesn't... what are your guys' recommendations? How about that? Should I use Guinness or should I just skip the beer? Honey Badger, I did find I have some spare cumin, luckily. I always keep spare around. I always keep spare spices around. Mr. Torres says Guinness will get the job done. All right, we'll do a little bit of Guinness as well. Feel like this is more like a stew now. Instead of searing it, we're gonna get this batch out. We're just mixing it around here for a bit, and then we're gonna get it out, and then do the other one. Papa Dan, I'm using chuck roast. So as I said earlier in the beginning, this is the first time that I make this style. So if there are some mistakes here and there, now you know why. I haven't cooked this before. I've done the traditional, which is just pretty much ground beef, and I kind of know already that one. But I'm following the recipe from Lodge, so a little bit different. All right, we're gonna season this one as well, just a little bit, not too much because there's already some in there from these pan juices or the juices in here. I don't want to overdo it either. Actually, guys, I think that what's already in here is good enough for this batch of meat for the seasoning. Sorry about that, guys. It's kind of loud. All right. This should be fairly easy. I don't know why I'm complicating it. John says, gotta use the beer. All right, we're gonna do a Guinness. Let me actually go grab that real quick. That's one thing that I'm missing. Let me grab it. So the Lodge website says to use a brown ale, but all I got is Guinness, guys. I do like Guinness, so we're gonna go with that. Hopefully it works. Definitely getting better results right now that I turn up the heat. Cynthia Wesley says, looking good. Thank you, Cynthia. Papa Dan says, thanks on clarifying the meat. No problem, Papa Dan. John says, dark beer is great for beef. Yeah, I think I've even used, I'll be honest, I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but I've used Guinness for roasted, like oven roasted chicken, and everybody loved it. So I'm guessing that nobody really cared that it was beer. You know, they actually did tell me that it was better. Once again, guys, thank you guys for being here on a Thursday night. I do know that you guys can be doing many, many things, but I appreciate you guys tuning in, watching me do this recipe, messing up here and there, but I mean, as I mentioned, we're not professional, at least I'm not, and I am doing my best. So I feel like I've come a long way with if you guys have seen any of my first videos, a lot different to what it is now. So I think we've grown. I think we've all grown a little bit more in the community as well. So just a quick shout out to everybody. Thank you guys for being so awesome. Rick, I think, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but you are a vegetarian, correct? Oh, you guys are talking about. So anyway, we had a crazy last couple of days. So we went here in Reno, Nevada. We went from maybe 70 degrees, 75-degree weather, and it snows here. We went from 75-degree weather to below freezing. We're down to tonight. Tonight is, I think, about 12 degrees outside. So last week around this time we were like maybe 40ish at night, or 50. Uh, this week though it's crazy cold. There's good snow on the mountains. Um, my wife hates the snow, especially because she works out in Lake Tahoe. At least that's where most of her clients are at. And so yeah, she hates the commute. She hates the drive. But yeah, we got some crazy weather here, and for me, I don't mind. I don't care. I kind of like the snow. The one thing that I don't like is just how sick people get. Like right now, you know, I'm sick, getting better, but still sick, and that's the only thing I don't like about winter. It's just the fact that you get sick. I just want to enjoy my days, and sometimes when you feel so crummy, it's hard to enjoy your days. But I guess at the same time, you got to take the good with the bad, right? Can't always be good. All right, guys. Lower the temperature because the next item that's going to go in there, according to the recipe, is going to be onion. Starting to smell good in here, though. I can't deny that. That's one thing that we can never share with you guys, us as, or the ones that do YouTube. We can't share to you the aromas that we get to smell. Unless you guys create it, then you guys will understand. But at the moment, you guys cannot smell what I'm smelling. Which I wish you could. Alright, so moving on with the recipe. Let's see what we got next. Alright, so searing, okay. Add onion to the Dutch oven, 5 to 7 minutes. Alright, we're going to throw in the onion. And I did turn down the temperature, so hopefully we don't have any issues with the onion burning. Wow, that is a strong onion. Whew! I got that kick right away. And I like to mince my onion really fine. But you can rough chop it, I guess. For me, I think this is better. Finely diced. That way you don't get huge chunks of onion. At least for me, I've never really liked huge, like powerful, flavors. Sometimes it can be very overpowering. Trying to pick up some of that fond left over by the meat. Oh, and for reference, guys, this is the recipe calls for one onion, one yellow onion, but I did it 3/4. So I did a 3/4 onion of white onion. I didn't do yellow. I didn't have any. Says to stir frequently 5 to 7 minutes. Let's see, after that, what do we got? After that, we're going to do garlic. obviously, I prepped everything in advance, guys. That way things could kind of fly smooth after this. We're just going to let it simmer once we got all the ingredients incorporated. And just so you guys know, this brisket chili does not actually have beans in it. So if you guys are bean lovers in your chili, this one does not call for beans in your chili. This one is just going to be pretty much a all meat chili and tomato. We're going to throw in some fire roasted tomatoes in here as well. I don't know if you would consider it almost a Texas style Texas style chili. I know a lot of people don't like beans in their chili. I do, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to put any kind of bean in this chili. I want to follow it to as much as close as possible as what the recipe calls for. Let's see. Papa Dan says, Luis, I must confess, I'm a professional eater. It's a tough job, but I'm up for the task. Isn't that right? My wife is also a professional eater. She's up for the task. She's a foodie, I guess you could say. She loves all kinds of recipes. And that's the nice thing about it too, is that I'll tell her, hey, if I try this recipe, will you actually, eat it? Like if I try to make this, will you eat it, or is it going to be not a waste, but are you going to eat it? And she says, yeah. I said, all right. And that's the nice thing, is that she's like, I'm willing to try any other food that you're willing to make. So whatever it is, she's like, at least I'll give it a try at least once. Rick already here. I guess we're starting a cast iron anonymous. We're starting up a meeting, and Rick is saying, hi, my name is Rick, and I have cast ironitis, and I'm a foodie. John says, wow, that's chilly. Here in northern Wisconsin, it's unseasonably warm, 61. Tomorrow, mid-30s. Yeah, no, I mean, these crazy temperature drops, that's what messes you up. I feel like what messed me up, because I was outside all day on Thursday. I was actually smoking a brisket for my sister's birthday, and I think that's why I mentioned I wasn't going to do a live last week. So I was outside, and that's when the storm kind of popped in, and it was cold. I'll be honest, guys, it was cold. And after that, on Friday, I woke up feeling sick, and I've been sick since Friday. Same thing with my kiddos. All right, I think that's been about 9 minutes, so we're going to go on with the garlic. So it says about 8 garlic cloves. I already obviously minced mine, and I actually have this little tool here, which is a time saver. So if you guys are interested, I would recommend one of these garlic press. Works really great. Leaves you with great results, as you can see here. Another reason I like using that, as I mentioned, is because the flavors can be so strong. I don't want a mouthful of garlic or onion when I take a bite of food. So that's why I like to finely dice, finely chop any strong, ingredient. And you got to be careful also when you cook garlic. Don't let it burn, because if you do, it turns very bitter. So if anything, garlic should go in towards the end. That way you don't burn it. And real quick, guys, just so you guys can see, I'm going to move you guys. So So far it almost looks like a paste, but everything is browning really beautifully, and I do like it. All right. All right, let's see. Honey Badger says, haven't done any zucchini this year, hippie, but I've been off for a few months, and usually I get zucchini from coworkers because. Where are you at, Honey Badger? Where are you at? Because you don't get it or you don't grow it. I'm sorry, I don't know if that's an AI, which is Arizona. All right, let's move on. Cynthia and Papa Dan, are you guys talking about games? If you were talking about parents as well, parents can get pretty crazy. My son was in soccer this season, and parents can be pretty loud. And I've been to soccer games, and my wife used to play soccer in high school and after college, or during college. She used to play, so I used to go watch. And yeah, it was always hectic. It was always dangerous. People were always too crazy, especially the adults. Just like Cynthia says, the adults, the adults can be kind of crazy. All right, next we got. We're gonna add the brisket back in, or the meat itself, not necessarily brisket. We got one piece that went overboard. Probably should use this one. We're also going to add half of the bacon. If you guys missed it, we did the bacon first. We're going to do half of the bacon. If you guys can hear that, that is my daughter. She does also have a pretty bad cough. We all do. We all have a pretty bad cough. As I mentioned, we got sick last week. So the beauty of this is that now all of this got, the fond was picked up from the meat, the onion, the garlic. So now we got good flavors in here now. So hopefully that mess up with the first batch of the meat doesn't affect my chili flavor on the beef. I did do a batch without seasoning. So hopefully, as I mentioned, that kind of makes up for it. Okay, so we're gonna add beer broth, and let's do the beer first. Where's my beer? Here it is. We're gonna save some. We're not gonna use it all. Save some for later. I want to say maybe 3/4 of it. I'm gonna grab my broth. We're gonna use some beef broth. Be right back, guys. Alright, sorry about that, guys. Couldn't find it. I had to go to my pantry and look. And this is actually bone broth, not beef broth, because I ran out of beef broth. So I'm going to do a little bit of this and then add a little bit of beef bouillon to kind of counteract the flavor of the chicken broth. So we're going to do a little bit of that and then chicken bouillon, or I'm sorry, beef bouillon. And I do like using this brand here better than bouillon. As you can see, this one is the roasted beef base. We're going to use that. I don't have much here, so I'm going to use it all. That's about all that I have. Cynthia, yeah, actually she got tested for RSV. It is RSV. For her, it's RSV. We already got her treatments and all that. She was on steroids. She was on, today was her last day of steroids and antibiotic. So yeah, we all kind of caught that. I think I mentioned that my wife had, she has bronchitis. I don't know if I mentioned that or not, but she has bronchitis, so yeah, it's kind of rough. All right, next we're gonna need some fire roasted tomatoes. Let's see, where is it? Yeah, so fire roasted tomatoes. We're gonna use 2 cans. And if you guys haven't used one of these can openers here, I would recommend them. And it does cut the edge here instead of the top, so it becomes less dangerous. That way nobody cuts themselves if you throw these in the trash can, or if you potentially accidentally forget and grab it or something, grab the can or something, you don't hurt yourself. Alright, and for those of you that are here and watching this, and you guys are watching me throw in tomato-based products into this Dutch oven, usually I would not do this in a newer Dutch oven. I did season this once, and then I used it a couple times with baking. So it does have a couple layers of seasoning on it, so it's not completely fresh, but since it's not strictly tomato-based, it shouldn't be as hard on your seasoning. as if you were simmering like a pure tomato sauce or anything of that nature. That'll be a lot harder. This isn't going to be necessarily too hard on your seasoning, so it should fare pretty well. Actually, you know what? Also, I'm going to do the rest of the beer. Might as well. All right, guys. Next, we're going to add 2 teaspoons of onion powder. So we're going to do some onion powder once again. So we're going to do the seasonings on this. So we're going to do chili powder. It says 4 teaspoons. We're just going to kind of measure it out. That's good enough for me. So 4 tablespoons of chili powder, that's a lot. 2 tablespoons of paprika. That's good enough for me. Next we got, let's see, 2 tablespoons of garlic powder. Where is my garlic powder? Oh, I ran out. Luckily I have some right here. All right. Next, we have onion powder. We got how much of onion powder? 2 teaspoons of onion powder. About yay much. Next, we have 2 teaspoons of brown sugar. I'm actually going to weigh this one out. So it says, or measure it out, 2 teaspoons of brown sugar. Alright, there's the brown sugar. Next we have, what do we have next? 1 tablespoon of cumin, so more cumin. Alright. Then we have some cinnamon powder. Very little of the cinnamon, not too much. Because it says how much of the cinnamon powder, let's see, cinnamon, where is it? 1/8 teaspoon, so yeah, very little. Probably went overboard. And I think that is it with the, oh yeah, and salt and pepper. salt, and then pepper. All right. Hippie Longshanks, where did you get the apron? I'm really digging it. This apron is actually from Meat Church Barbecue. And this is the Dia de los Muertos apron that they had on sale right now. If you're interested, you can go to meatchurch.com. They also have really good seasoning there that I really, really like. So I do recommend that as well. And once again, thank you for the $5 Hippie Longshanks. Alright, yeah, I need to stir this. We're going to let this simmer and then we'll do a little bit of a taste and see where we're at. I'll let you guys know. But in the meantime, so we're going to let this simmer. How long have we been going? An hour and a half? Yep. Alright. One tip that I recommend is actually to oil this. So I'm going to spray it with some cooking oil. And the reason being is that you want to prevent any of that moisture to do any damage to your seasoning. And I am going to be using this to spray the lid. And there you go. Now it's ready. Alright, we're going to let that simmer so that way I can chat with you guys. So, yes, I don't know if you guys can see me right here. This apron here, Meat Church, it's got the Dia de los Muertos little caricature, I guess. But yeah, meatchurch.com, that's where you can get it. And it's also a good brand. This is so it's a good brand. It does come with pockets here where you can actually see. You can actually insert pencils or a pad, notepad. It's got pockets. It also has this over here to put a paper towel or a towel for that matter. All right, let me catch up with you guys in the conversation. And I did turn down the heat to a simmer, so we are low right now. All right, so once again, guys, I did mention that this was the Lodge recipe. Let me move you guys over here to show you what I've been working on. All right, guys. So here we are, guys. Hopefully now I can sit down and chat with you guys for a bit. I'm gonna push this over here. Sorry for moving you guys around too much. I don't want to get you guys dizzy. Let me get my setup going in a minute. That way you guys can we can talk for a bit. All right, guys. So we have an Asian made skillet here that I want to show you guys that I recently purchased. Trying to get myself set up here. So I'm going to be doing a review on this. Hopefully you guys are interested in that. And so I saw this skillet kind of floating around everywhere on the social media and people just talking about how expensive it is. And so I went to go check it out myself. I actually went to Rayleigh's or Nob Hill, Bel Air, that store. And that's where I found it. Yes, I actually do read your guys' comments. What's going on, Rick? Is there anything specific? But anyway, guys, so $30 for this. Fairly expensive, I think, considering that's Asian made. But actually, now that we are sitting here for a brief moment, I do want to talk to you guys and see um, what you guys have been talking about. Right now, guys, if you guys have any questions, I think this is the best time to ask for anything. Any kind of questions you guys have, let me know. We can just chat it up for a bit. Strong's Adventures just dropping in to say hello. I can't stay long, but check out the show tomorrow. Thank you, Strong's Adventure. I appreciate that. Thank you guys for being with us for the past 1 hour and a half. I appreciate that, guys. Yeah, I didn't have any smoked paprika, but yes, I'm on the same boat, guys. I do like smoked paprika better than just plain old paprika. Cynthia Wesley, what do you mean? Oh Lord, so we'll know how bad not to cut up. Not sure what's going on there. Oh, okay. Just curious. Yeah, no, I do read your guys' comments. I always like to kind of browse the following day and see what you guys were talking about so I can kind of understand. Um, while I was cooking to see what was going on. At the same time, I get to see a little bit about what I need to improve in during my lives and things of that nature. Also, I don't want to keep the conversation kind of just stale, and I want to keep it going. So I try my best to read your guys' comments or conversations here on the live, uh, just so that way I can get an idea of what to be doing on the next one. Hippie Longshanks, what was the first cast iron that you remember buying? My first one was actually a Lodge griddle. That was the first thing, and I bought it because my sister had actually she had a comal that she had just completely destroyed, and I went to Walmart. I think that's where I found it. I was obviously in the looking for a carbon steel because technically that's what they use. So I was in that area where they also have the cast iron. So I grabbed that one instead, and I fell in love with it. I was like, oh man, this thing is awesome, and I was like, Lodge, American made.
because I was looking at the other cookware, and obviously, all of it was pretty much made in China and non-stick, and that's kind of when I started falling in love with just cast iron cookware, and then started diving deep into it, and I remember the first videos that I would be watching was from the Cast Iron Fanatic. That's who I first followed, along with Cast Iron Chaos, Backwoods Gourmet, and then a little bit of the other like like higher subscription cooks. I started watching a lot of cooking channels. What's his name, Joshua Wiseman. I actually saw him when I first started following him before he was so big, and he got so big. But yeah, Joshua Wiseman, and obviously Gordon Ramsay. He's one of my favorites. So that's how I started, and I've always liked food and cooking. I was actually just a little backstory here, guys. Yes, I was actually very overweight for most of my. I want to say maybe about 10 years of my life, or maybe more, about 15 years of my life. Very overweight. So and I love to eat. I love food. Um, and my wife, she was always telling me, hey, let's cook something home instead of buying out, and we would buy a lot of food out, and we kind of fell into that routine where we just buy a lot of food out, and then I got sick, and I got sick with my gallbladder, and then from there on I started cooking for myself. I came home and I bought a grill. I started cooking. I started learning how to cook, and this was back in 2018, and I've been cooking since. Let's see what else. Strong's Adventure. What does your wife have to say about your cast iron addiction? She says that I have already way too much and I need to stop. But in all seriousness, yes, sometimes it does become an issue with her and and I can see it though. I'm not gonna try and justify my addiction to cookware, especially cast iron cookware. But it's become something that we've talked about, argued about, but not to the extreme where she said, "Hey, you need to stop doing this," or I'm gonna be very unhappy with you, or something like that. No, we try to be as understanding as possible with each other. So she doesn't have to tell me. I can see where I need to slow down, and that's what I've been doing lately. Is I try to slow down. I'm not gonna keep it, guys. This I'm probably gonna sell it. So I just bought it to do a review. BMF 7831 says, "I doubt anyone here is interested in Asian made." That's funny because this one's Asian made, and there is actually some good stuff out there. To be honest, a lot of the I'm sorry, a lot of the Bayou Classic Carolina Cooker Cabela's brand, uh, and excuse me, let me grab some water. But those brands are Asian made. All right, I'm back. So, um, I don't have anything against Asian made. Is it my favorite? No. As I said earlier, I always support USA made. Lodge has to be one of my favorites, so I'll be honest with that. Lodge, and for the sole purpose that it's so readily available, inexpensive, and high quality. Lodge is unbeatable on that standard, on that itself. Hippie Longshanks, I'm a carbon steel user too. Just picked up a new brand, USA made, Castaway, and having fun with it. Yeah, I've heard of Castaway. Oh man, this chili, guys. Probably not a good idea to be cooking chili indoors while we have a cough. But anyway, trying to push through it. Yeah, I love carbon steel as well, and I'm thinking about maybe possibly doing more carbon steel stuff like Matt Burt, and any of those higher like De Buyer or De Bouillet. Those I do have a crepe, or I think it's an omelet, French omelet pan. But I'm looking forward to do more of carbon steel cookware. Strong's Adventure. Are you? I know that you are the one that works kind of crazy hours. I think. Are you a technician? Like, are you in the tech field, or are you not necessarily like computers, but like a technician for mechanics or any kind of like mechanical or anything like that? Papa Dan says, Luis, can you find BSR and Martin cast iron easily in your area? No, it's actually very, very rare. But I have found a couple pieces. Actually, no, I'll take that back. BSR, very easy to find, but Martin Stove and Range, not at all. The pieces that I own, I think, were from California. So in California, they're a lot easier to find. But here in the Nevada region, and I'm, border to California. I'm honestly like maybe 20 minutes away from California. No, you don't find much of the Morton Stove and Range, but like in Sacramento, the Central California area, you'll find good stuff there. And BSR is, a really good brand that a lot of people don't know, possibly don't know. I feel like it's underrated, um, especially with the vintage cookware collectors. They don't really care about BSR that much. They go for the Wagnerware or Griswold. And what is the other one? The very popular one, which would be Wapak, the with the fancy handle and the Native American headdress. I think those are the ones that go for a lot of money. But BSR, very underrated, high quality, good stuff. Almost like a Lodge, just obviously slightly different sizing, but good quality. Sorry, guys. Sorry about all that coughing. The chili, though, I had to turn on the fan. It's pretty strong. The spices are pretty strong. So if you guys are gonna be trying this chili, make sure that you guys either do it when no one's home, or possibly do it outside if you have an oven outside or a grill outside. Maybe even consider doing it out in your outside patio or something. But yeah, it's pretty spicy. I'm not gonna say that it isn't. Pretty strong. But anyway, let's see, what else are you guys? Any questions, guys? As I mentioned, let me know. I think Papa Dan overall, Martin Stove and Range is just in general pretty hard to find. But I do love. I want to say that Martin Stove and Range is one of my favorites in the sense of how rare it is. It's a very rare skillet to find, like cookware in general to find. Even though it was, I want to say, pretty mass produced in the East Coast, you don't find it much here, especially in the West Coast. You don't find much of it. I mean, possibly you're not going to find it so much like in Arizona, possibly not Arizona or Nevada, Utah. Possibly you won't find anything there. Um, Idaho might have some issues finding, Oregon, or some of you guys call it Oregon, but here we know it as Oregon. No, I think they maybe, and even Seattle, like, or not Seattle, I'm sorry, Washington State, you might have a hard time finding any kind of cast iron, to be honest. Luckily, here in the Nevadas, here in Reno, we have a huge community of cowboys. So we have the Reno Rodeo, which is pretty popular. We have a lot of competition here, uh, and as I mentioned, we have a huge presence of cowboy cooking, a lot of barbecue joints. So luckily, I've been able to find some good cookware here. A lot of BSR. Most of my BSR, actually, I want to say all of my BSR has been here at yard sales, at estate sales, garage sales, Griswold as well. I found a lot of that stuff here, but never have I found any kind of WAPAC or WAPAC. I haven't found any of that. I haven't found any Martin Stove and Range. What's the other one? A favorite Piqua ware. I haven't found any of that. And my pieces that I own, I'll be honest with you guys, I purchased some of that stuff either on Etsy or eBay. Um, it's hard to find those. BSR though, a lot easier. And I want to say it's because people don't know about BSR as much. Strong's Adventures, Steel Mills. I'm sorry, I missed it. Oh, you're an electrician. I do everything from residential to commercial work. Currently working at two steel mills at the port of Shreveport. Okay. Yeah, I think, yeah, I remember that you were telling me you were a technician of something. So that's why I was asking. Not that I'm trying to put you on the spot here, but yeah, I did hear that you were doing some kind of, hands-on kind of work. As I mentioned, I'm a HVAC tech, so I do a lot of that. And before that, I was, straight out of college, I was doing maintenance work for some apartment complexes. So I learned how to do some basic electrical. I did, actually, I know how to do electrical now because I actually had to take a course in electricity, and I got a degree, technically, kind of a degree in electricity, which goes hand in hand with HVAC. So we do gas plumbing, like with HVAC. I had to learn gas plumbing, electrical. Um, we have to learn sheet metal working. So it's kind of a mix of everything. We have to learn all that. And I went to school for that. I want to say maybe it took me since I was married and then had a kid and then had more kids. So it took me about no, I'm sorry, not even 3. I wish it would have, about 5 years to complete my courses, the whole thing. But I was part time, took about 2 courses per semester, so it took me a while to get there. But anyway, guys, yes, I love doing all that stuff. I'm a hands on kind of guy. That's how I learned the best. And I think it's always great to know a little bit of everything. Let's see. Cynthia Wesley, I got a one Martin when I started on the journey during the pandemic. Number 9 was given to me by another friend that knew nothing like me. Yeah. um, I think I mentioned it to you guys, but I am Mexican American, so technically, I was. I'll be honest with you guys. I was born in Mexico. Brought here at the young age of 2 years old. So I don't know much about my country, I guess you could say, or where I was born. Uh, but I learned Spanish really well. My mother would teach me. She would give me books. She was always educating me from a young age, so I learned Spanish really well. And then when I went into school, obviously picked that up, the English pretty well as well. And so I'm bilingual in both languages. Pretty. I want to say I can manage both languages pretty well. But with that being said, my family wasn't really into cast iron at all. We did all of our cooking was mostly with non-stick and carbon steel, and the reason we used carbon steel was for the tortillas. But other than that, we had no knowledge of cast iron. But I'll be honest with you guys, the only piece, and I'm grateful that I have it, the only piece that my mom ever bought that was cast iron, which I didn't know before she passed. I didn't even know she was using cast iron. She bought herself a little egg, like a little egg pan. She would use it for herself to make herself eggs, and I have it. So I don't know if I've ever showed it to you guys. So let me actually, If you guys don't mind, I'll show you the only piece that I have from my mother, and I do have it myself. All right, guys. So it is Asian made. I don't believe it's made here in the U.S., but this is technically the only piece that my mom ever used to make eggs. So for me, this Asian made piece of cast iron cookware is very special. My mom passed away back in 2019, and sadly, she never saw me really dive deep into cooking. And I wish that she would have, but I'm happy that I have this, and I'm happy that she actually bought herself something without my influence. And it's a Delmonico little pan, as you can see. I don't use it. I keep it as a souvenir, I guess, or a memento. And it's this piece of cast iron is actually very special to me. And it's funny because obviously this, for anybody else, wouldn't have any monetary value, and but for for me, it has a lot of value, just for the simple reason that it was my mom's. But as I mentioned, since I'm from Mexico, my family didn't really use cast iron cookware down there. They used a lot of copper pots, stainless steel pots, and they didn't use any non-stick back then. It was usually clay. They would use a lot of clay cookware, stainless steel, and copper cookware. That was their cookware back then. And when they moved here, they switched over to non-stick, which they didn't know anything about it. So when I learned about non-stick, I was telling them, you got to be careful. The coating is toxic, and they know about it now, and they're more careful about the way they use non-stick. They still use it. I've tried to get them to switch over, but they're stuck in their ways. Strong's Adventure, very cool, says very cool. Thank you very much, Strong's Adventure. I appreciate that. Rick says, what a cool little skillet. Yeah. Rick, thank you for the kind words. Cynthia Wesley says, I just about down to all BSR Dutch ovens. The rest are in the corner, too heavy. Yeah, cast iron cookware is heavy. And that's one of the reasons why my family does not want to move towards cast iron cookware, guys. It's hard to get them into that. And then they're also worried about, when I got this, my mom would just use it and use it and use it. And she really didn't have much of a coat of seasoning on it. As you can see, this is glossy, and as I mentioned, I've used it maybe once or twice after I restored it, but I did restore this myself after I took it. So I seasoned it, and my family sees me with my cookware, and I think I've given it a bad rep with the fact of how I'm constantly just cleaning it, seasoning it, and I want to keep it like this, pretty much pristine. So I think I gave them the wrong impression, but cast iron cookware is not difficult to use, as most of you guys know. Fairly easy, and you really don't have to be, a perfectionist when it comes to cast iron cookware. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to look pretty right away. It doesn't have to be jet black like this one. As long as it has a good coating and you use a good amount of fat, it'll work more than perfectly. But my family, as I mentioned, they don't want to make that move. I think I've had this piece now for close to a year. This is the Marquette. And just, the seasoning on this is beautiful. It almost looks like I don't use it, but I have it out because I used it. I've been using it lately to make breakfast with it. I'll make hash browns, potatoes, eggs, country hash, and just about anything. Gravy, as I mentioned, just about anything. So, mine, I try and keep mine as pristine as possible. You don't have to, obviously, but that's just who I am, and that's just the pickiness in me. But let's move back to the this one here. So this pan, a lot of people are talking about it. It's the Good Cook pan, and Asian made, and obviously you can see here why it's Asian made. A lot of the U.S. cookware doesn't have this here. And one thing that I noticed is when I first got this and I thought about it, and I was like, you know, this is going to be a pain in the butt. This is going to be in the way. I don't know if I like it. But when they designed it to the point where this actually bows inward. So it bows, you know, inward here. So the only surface that it's touching on your cookware, or I'm sorry, on your stovetop or your range or whatever you have, is this edge, because it has that bow in the middle. So this actually doesn't touch any of the surface. And I want to say the reason why they did that is because if you overheat this pan, they want it to obviously not warp downward. So what they do is they make it warp upward. So it has that upward bow. One thing that I do like about this pan though is, you know, it's kind of a throwback where the number 10s or the eights or the 10-inch pans didn't have the helper handle. Also, the handle is a lot better than the, and I'll be honest, it's a lot better designed than the prepped skillet handle. That one was horrible. This one actually has some ergonomics. Oh, Strong's Adventure, you're taking off? Okay. Thank you for showing up. You have to be up at 4:30. Thank you, Strong's Adventure. Have a good night. I appreciate you swinging by and having a conversation with us. Stay safe. Rick says, I grew up with nonstick. Mom had one cast iron, didn't use much though. Yeah. Same here, as I mentioned, my family didn't really know much about cast iron cookware, but I've, you know, really dove deep into cast iron, so now I'm, I want to say, compensating for all those years that I never used it, or my family never used it. Papa Dan says, Luis, that pan will always be special and priceless to you. Most things come and go, but you only have one daddy and one mama. You done a great job on your mama's pan. Thank you. That means a lot. Thank you for those kind words, Papa Dan. Cynthia Wesley says, I'm glad I mentioned that. I won't be going then. I don't know this, but I hear there's a place in Silice Island. I'm checking on it Saturday. I'll let you know. Oh, not necessarily West. Oh, you're going somewhere. You're going to try and go Sunday to West Monroe. Well, if you decide to go, safe travels, Cynthia Wesley. Be safe. And if you don't, stay safe at home. All right, guys. So I think we're at the, we're at the 2-hour mark. So I don't think that I'm going to be able to finish the cooking of the chili, but I will upload a video showing you guys the end results of the chili. But before I go, I'm going to show you guys what it's looking like right now. I got to check on it anyway, so I'm going to bring you guys with me. I do appreciate everybody for being here in this conversation that we've had. I do appreciate all your time and the kind words from everybody, but as I mentioned, I don't think we have enough time to continue with this. So I'm going to show you guys what the brisket chili is looking like. That is pretty hot. Let me grab something. Sorry if you guys can't hear very well. That is actually the fan going, and we have to have it going because those spices are pretty strong. All right. Funny enough, I actually have one of these. So as you can see, it's looking pretty good. It's coming to a boil. Let me see if I can stir it around for you guys. I think there needs to be a little bit more reduction on this. So I'm going to let it go maybe another 30, 40 minutes. So as I mentioned, sorry if I will post the end results. Sorry if you guys wanted to see what it was going to turn out like. But as I always say, I appreciate everybody tuning in. I appreciate your time. And I will catch you guys on the next one. So look forward to the video for this. I'll post something, let you guys know how it turned out. Thank you guys. Everybody stay safe and have a good night.